Okay, ladies and gentlemen, would you please rise and join Councilman Case in our pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible,
for liberty and justice for all.
Will you pray with me, please? Our Heavenly Father, we just want to thank you for our community. We want to thank you for your presence in this community and the churches, and that how we honor you in different areas. We just want to thank you for the life that you've given us in this community. We thank you for our council and for their hours of service of making this place even better. We thank you for the workers. We want to especially thank you for Maxine and the years that she has given to this community and the work that she's done. And we just ask that you bless her life as she retires and enjoys that with her husband. And we just ask a special blessing upon them. We ask a blessing upon this service this evening, and we pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, Pastor Don. I call to order our Guthrie Public Works Authority meeting of June 20th. Our second item on the agenda is public comments. We have actually a recognition of for Maxine that we will be presenting. I'll present it up front. Maxine, would you join? This proclamation reads, whereas Maxine Pruitt has displayed a true commitment and loyalty for her community and the city of Guthrie for 25 years, and whereas Maxine Pruitt is always considerate, thoughtful, and helpful to the citizens of the city, and whereas Maxine Pruitt has worked for and supported 9 mayors, numerous city managers, and city councilmen in her career with the city. And whereas Maxine Pruitt contributed abundantly in her leadership and support of the city goals of integrity, service, and quality of life for the citizens, and whereas Maxine Pruitt will be remembered in making our city a great place to live and to work. Be therefore resolved, I, Stephen J. Gentling, Mayor of the City of Guthrie, am honored, duly honored, to declare Friday, July 7th, 2017, as Maxine Pruitt Day.
I really don't know what to say. I'm so overwhelmed at this moment, but I can tell you one thing. My father-in-law, who's been gone a number of years, Lawrence Pruitt, he ran the Faith Publishing House. He very seldom missed a council meeting, but he died before I started working for the city. And he would be honored to know that I gave time to the city of Guthrie because he loved this town.
Yeah, great.
I love this town. I love everybody in it. I love the people that have worked for me these last 10 years. I could not have done anything without them. And council, you all are the best. I've worked for several council people, and I just don't have anything other to say, but thank you.
Well, we have one other little token. We understand you are a collector of sorts. Sounds like you may have been a collector of mayors on here, actually. 9 mayors. But I know that you're a collector of some other things here, and Leroy has something to present.
Maxine collects paperweights. So we got her a paperweight. It has her name on the top and her position. And it says the key to retirement, July 7th, 2017. I'm recent to the community. I've just been city manager for a few months, but I can tell you I've grown to appreciate Maxine. She opened her arms to me when I become city manager and made my introduction to community very favorable. And so I appreciate what time I've worked with you, and I know how you're treasured by the city.
Thank you. Thank you,
So,
everyone.
James, did we get pictures? Okay. Leroy, you want to get in on this?
Come on in.
Yeah.
Get in there, Leroy.
Congratulations.
Thank you all
so much.
so much.
We-
This is a
we love you.
wonderful.
We're gonna miss you.
We love you
We're
all
gonna miss
too.
you.
Thank you.
Good job. Item number 3, consent agenda item A is the approval of the minutes from the June 6th meeting. I'll entertain a motion on the consent agenda.
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Submit your votes, please. Let's see the votes. Unanimous approval of all those present. We have one councilwoman that is not here to approve the consent agenda. Item number 4, discussion and possible action to authorize staff to solicit bids for 2 critical sewer main replacement projects. Do you have comments from staff?
We have the city engineer and Maxine here if there's questions on this, but this will come out of the CMOM fund. There's $200,000 balance in the CMOM fund at this time. And these 2 critical projects with construction engineering and contingencies will come to a total of $93,462. And staff recommends that we do these 2 projects.
Okay. And is there any other discussion, questions from anybody, any of the council? Okay, I'll entertain a motion
So moved.
and a second.
Second.
Any other discussion? Submit your votes. See the votes. Unanimous approval of the council present to authorize staff to solicit bids on those 2 sewer main replacement projects. Item number 5, discussion and possible action to award bid number 2017-5 for Phase 1 of the Cottonwood Creek intake restoration project, riprap and all those kinds of things that are necessary to make this a viable project for a water intake. Staff comments?
I will let Bill Myers and his staff talk about the technical parts of the contract, but on the cost side, the contract we're awarding tonight for Phase 1 is in the amount of $298,800. And if you look at your cover letter, I've added the engineering fees for construction, 10% contingency. So the budget for this would be $396,880. We have Phase 2, which is on the other side of the creek to stabilize that bank that we will be bidding later. And the total for that with engineering construction right now is estimated at $259,000. I would want to make you aware that the master meters we're doing to separate our system from the rural water where we give those customers, it looks like it's $684,000. Now when you add these 2 projects, $655,000, that comes to a little over $1.3 million. The Oklahoma City Waterline Fund at the present time has just over $1.3 million in it. Just to make you aware, when we finish these 2 projects, that is one-time money, so that source of funds for future projects will be expended and no longer available to us. I would have Mr. Myers and his staff come up if you have any questions about the project itself.
Right, I'm Bill Myers. I'm going to have Matt Coe talk to you about the project. Look, he's more intimate with it, probably more intimate than he wants to be, but he's intimate. So I'm going to ask Matt to come up.
He's the man that fell in the hole.
Okay, Matt, you've been here a few times before, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I have a question. Does any of this delay actually using the intake for a third water supply for the city?
No, sir. We'll actually be able to begin utilizing that pump station during construction as soon as they lay the pipe and backfill. Then they can move forward with some of the riprap placement and things of that nature. So as soon as they can get the pipe installed, we can go ahead and start utilizing the pump station while construction is going on. There will be a time and period when it's not able to be utilized, but that's when the structural modifications are under construction and while they're laying the pipe to the structure. After they backfill and compact, then we can start utilizing it once again.
Do you have a target time for laying of the pipe?
Hoping to be able to get that within a month after the notice to proceed to get the pipe. They could probably start pulling some of the bank down and doing because it's pretty deep cut right at the structure and then it shallows up. But they could start getting it excavated while the materials are on way. So it'll depend on the availability of pipe. Hopefully there's some 30-inch ductile iron pipe available locally, so.
Okay. And you don't have to wade out there anymore, do you? Wade into the hole?
Oh, yeah, well, so I'll certainly be out there during construction, so I'll be hiking around the site. So if I need to get in the water, I will,
All right.
so.
Good. Good. Any other questions of Matt?
I do have a question. I posed this to the mayor earlier, or not the mayor, but the city manager. Why are we using riprap as well as the concrete debris?
We provided a price for riprap and concrete because it gave the contractors more flexibility as to, if they wanted to use the concrete, they'd have to have more equipment and trucks to be able to haul it to the construction site. Whereas if they're having riprap, they might be able to get a good price from the quarry and the trucking fee be the same. So, but we also have a limited supply of concrete as well too. Some of it's got a lot of rebar and stuff, but there's a lot of material out there that's going to be really good to utilize. So
is the rebar an issue? Do we need to not have the rebar in there?
the contractor's required to cut off any long pieces of rebar if he wants to use it, 2-inch minimum protruding from the concrete. We don't want pieces that are long enough that somebody could impale themselves on.
Right, and I know a lot of kids, my son is one of them that noodles down there, so, but no, I'm not asking because I question what you're doing. I'm asking because I know a lot of people in the city are going to want to know why we're doing what we're doing, so.
It was to utilize the available stockpile of concrete we have and also provides the additional flexibility to utilize riprap as well. It'll function just the same either way, but now we have 2 unit prices that we can utilize. And if we don't need all the riprap, we can reduce that quantity. If we want to go ahead and utilize the riprap, we can increase the quantity.
Good enough. That's what I needed. Thanks.
Any other questions from council?
I have a quick question.
Yes, sir.
So originally, we approved a $600 and some thousand low water dam, as we know. Then we went around, and we decided that wasn't our long-term solution. So we approved a $1.2, $1.4 million, whatever it was, permanent solution, 20-year plus low water dam. But then you came in all wet one day with your galoshes in your hand and said you fell in the hole. Okay, no pun intended. And so we said, well, what do you mean you fell in a hole? And so there was a big hole up there, so we can just riprap around it, stabilize the hole, and we can sink the intake down, and we're good to go. We don't need the low water dam. So what's our total nut on this deal? Is it $298,000? Because I'm hearing that we're depleting a $1.2 million water fund deal. And I'm confused how that's happening. Maybe I missed something here.
Well, you also have a $700,000 master meter project that you're constructing.
Okay, so that's the other
part
deal.
of it too.
Okay, that's a separate deal. Okay.
And I think the last council meeting I came up to, I told you around $680,000 in there. In the estimates, you have 10% contingencies on phase 1. We also have 30% contingencies built in that phase 2 number budget as well too. So that's bumping that number. I think the total budget was a little over $800,000. That I was looking at for the total project as a whole. So it did go up slightly since last meeting, but not considerably. And we're right at the, just about utilizing all the funds between the master meter project and the dam project and the water line funds. And fortunately, since it's a unit price contract, I'm going to have a little bit, I'll have a little bit of control too on where we end up on this budget at the end of the day as far as quantity of riprap utilized. If I see we're getting ready to go over the budget amount, I can say, let's skim it back just a little bit here and here to keep us in that number to where we don't have to go looking for funds to get this thing finished.
All right.
Okay. Any other questions from council? Okay, Matt, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Bill, thank you. Any other discussion from the council? I'll entertain a motion. Have a motion, I'll entertain a second.
Second?
Motion and a second to approve the bid 2017-05. Submit your votes.
All votes are in.
See the votes? Unanimous approval of councilmen present to approve that bid for Phase 1 of the intake dam restoration project. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we are adjourned from the Public Works Authority meeting, and I'll call to order our City Council meeting of June 20th. Consent agenda items A through C. A is the approval of our workshop on June 6th. B is the approval of our regular City Council meeting of June 6th. And C is the approval of the City and County Civil Defense Agreement with the Logan County Board of Commissioners. Any comments from staff on any of those items? I guess C would be the only one of any discussion.
C is what we've typically have done in the past, isn't it?
It's an annual agreement.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Any other discussion? Submit your votes.
All votes are in.
Let's see the votes. Unanimous approval of all councilmen present for the consent agenda items A through C. Agenda item number 3, discussion and possible action to accept a $5,000 grant from OMAG to the City Police Department. Staff, Chief, you want to make some comments on this? This is for cameras, body cameras?
Yes, we worked with OMAG not too long ago to apply for a $5,000 grant to hopefully finish out equipping all our officers with body cams. And heck, we got it if you'll accept it.
So this will complete body cameras for all of the officers?
Their piece will, but of course we'll have to get them ordered, and then we're waiting on another chunk of them to come in that we have ordered. But yes, everybody will have one.
And is there a target date in which they'll all be fitted?
I would guess probably in the next 60 days.
Okay. Good, good. Any other staff comments at all? Okay. Any discussion from council? I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
And a second.
Second?
Okay. Submit your vote, please.
All votes are in.
Let's see the votes. Unanimous approval to finish off those body cams for all the officers.
Could we borrow the mayor real quick to get a picture and we can get him the heck out of here?
Sure. You want to put me in a body cam or?
You're gonna wrap you up.
Better than
Just need that Dentine smile. Watch me smile. It goes, swing.
Or a body bag.
One, two, smiles.
All right, good. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, council.
Kind of scared me when I walked around and he had shaved. I don't recognize him. It's like, whoa, who are you? Fake you.
Okay, item number 4, discussion, possible action to confirm appointment of Brad Latham to the Guthrie Edmond Regional Airport Advisory Board, 3-year term. We had 3 really excellent candidates for the board, by the way. I think Brad brings a really nice combination of a passion for airports and air traffic, as well as a outstanding background in business. And you've all seen his application. and I would make that recommendation.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and seconded. Any other discussion? Submit your votes.
All votes are in.
See the votes. Unanimous approval of Brad Latham to the Guthrie Edmond Regional Airport Advisory Board. Item number 5, discussion and possible action to confirm Ginny Corfett Griffin and Rick Nichols to the Parks Board. We have 2-year terms there for the Parks Board, and actually, we have actually 3 vacancies, but one just kind of came up because of some lack of participation. So I opted to hold that one until we had appropriate recognition of that individual. So to fill 2 of the 3 vacancies, I'm recommending Ginny Corfett Griffin and Rick Nichols.
How many does this get us up to?
It'll be, you mean total on the Parks Board?
Right.
I think 6.
6? Okay, good.
I believe that is a, 4?
Okay. That's
Just
still-
4 that are there?
There's 5 total.
Okay, 5 total?
Okay,
I'm
well, That's
sorry.
still good, though.
So moved.
That's, yeah,
Have a-
second, that's, we haven't had that in a long
We have
time.
a motion
Second.
and a second. Motion and a second. Any other discussion? Submit your votes.
All votes are in.
See the votes. Unanimous approval of those 2 new members to the Parks Board, and congratulations to all of those individuals. Discussion, item number 6, discussion and possible action to award bid number 2017-06 for outdoor basketball court and tennis courts at Highland and at Mineral Wells. Staff comments?
I would just point out that the engineering's estimate with, on this project was $227,000 for the construction with an additional $22,000 in contingency. But for some reason, we'd only budgeted $173,000. I think there was some miscommunications with this low bid from Merritt Tennis that has been recommended by our city engineer to accept a low bid. We will need to amend our CIP budget. And so we will be moving temporarily, and then we'll replace the money when next budget year starts in October. If the city council is okay with it, we'll be taking $146,288 from what was budgeted for the splash pad and moving it to the budget for the retrofit of the tennis courts in Highland and Mineral Wells Park and the new basketball court in Mineral Wells.
Why is it so high? Out of curiosity, I mean, over
Well,
$250,000 just seems very expensive.
Actually, I think isn't it below what
No.
the engineering bid?
It's about where we had estimated, but what we're doing, did you know what we're doing? Okay, so at Highland, we're basically making the courts USTA compliant. So that the high school, if they wanted to use them, they could use them for practice, and I don't know, for matches maybe. But involved in that is because they're on, if you look at Highland Park tennis courts, they're on different grades, so we're having to build a retaining wall between them and then put a fence between them. And then we're also making the courts ADA accessible on the lower courts so that, you know, someone can get down there and use the courts. So that was relatively expensive. We're resurfacing the courts as well, and I believe we're putting in new standards and nets on both courts. Then over at the in Mineral Wells, we're building a new basketball court with a fence around it and lighting, okay, with a little bit of bleachers. And we're also going to put a surface on that, a good playing surface, rather than just plain concrete. And then in the tennis courts there in Mineral Wells, we're going to resurface the tennis courts. We're going to take one of the courts and convert it to outdoor volleyball. The other court will be converted to outdoor tennis and pickleball. So it'll be new standards and new nets, and resurfaced and restriped. So, and the fencing was fine on that one, but we had to do new fencing, or had to do fencing on the basketball court. So there was a lot really going on, so that's why that's there.
Outdoor tennis and what ball?
Pickleball.
Pickleball, yeah.
So how do you play that?
Real carefully.
Taste that pickle.
Actually, it's my kind of game. It's a little bit slower, and it's pretty popular.
So are you suggesting, Mr. City Manager, that we take the money, if I heard you correct, from the splash pad and put it over to this project and push the splash pad out and rebudget that?
In the next budget year starts in October 1 of this year, yes,
Because we weren't going to do the splash pad until after that anyway, were we?
correct.
So it's no harm, no foul, I guess, at that point, other than we're spending another 80, 90 grand more than we thought.
Correct.
But the splash pad still is in our plan. We're not eliminating it, it's just moving
Correct. We're
back.
not suggesting that. We weren't planning on doing it this year, but we had it in this year's budget. We will move that money to finish this project, and then we replenish that money in our proposed budget for next year.
Gotcha.
There you go. Okay. I'll entertain a motion
So moved.
Second.
and a second. Any other discussion? Submit your votes. See the votes. Unanimous approval of all those present to go ahead with that bid number 2017-06 for tennis and basketball courts. Item number 7, discussion and possible action to award bid number 2017-4, rehabilitate runway lights at the airport. Staff comments. Shalon?
Okay, so on June 9th, the city of Guthrie reviewed the competitive bids for two bids, and for the reference project of the runway rehabilitation lights. And one was Libra Electric Company for $289,769. The other one was Wise Electric Company for $289,460. They came in real close. The low bidder was Wise Electric Company out of Owasso, Oklahoma. The city's airport engineer reviewed the bids and has recommended that the contract be awarded to the low bidder. In your packet, you do have the sheet that shows the tabulation of bids, and all broke down there. So that has the airport engineers on there. The cost of the contract will be covered 90% by FAA, and the FAA grant will be in the amount of $260 and $514,000. City sponsor match will be 10%, and then that will be split between the city of Guthrie and Edmond. That split would be $14,473.
What a bargain.
That's the cost. Love those
Yes.
90-10 matches.
And the estimate by the engineer was how much this is going to cost?
The estimate by the engineer is $354,145, so they came in a lot lower than expected.
That's good news.
All the way around. Okay? Any questions of Shalon or other staff members?
So moved.
Okay?
Second.
Need a motion and a second. You guys are way ahead of me. Submit your votes.
All votes are in?
See the votes. Unanimous approval of that bid number 2017-04, the rehab runway lights for the airport. Item number 8, discussion and possible action to approve resolution 2017-11, which is accepting an FAA grant for another project at the airport.
Actually, it's the same
Same
project.
Oh,
project.
it's the same project?
And the one you just did, you approved it subject to receipt of this grant we're talking about next. FAA they provide a lot of funding, but they have their own way of doing things.
So we had to approve the grant separately.
Correct.
From the
And
project. Okay.
This will be
The grant approval.
the
so
grant
moved.
approval.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any other discussion? Submit your votes.
All votes are in?
Easy one, unanimous approval of the acceptance of the FAA grant for that improvement. Item number 9, discussion and possible action to approve change order number 1 to the street paving contract with Atlas Paving Company for changing a portion of Chestnut Street in lieu of Locust Street. Staff comments?
Locust Street and Sycamore Street, which was approved as part of the street overlay project this year. When we got into it, Sycamore and Locust Streets were outside of their road right-of-way, and the actual alignment did not match the right-of-way. And so visiting with the city attorney, the process we'd have to go and the timing and cost to get easements to do that, it was recommended that we forego those two streets this year. And so we made a staff decision to supplement and put Chestnut Street in place of the one block of Locust and the one block of Sycamore, because Chestnut was a gravel street as well, for the same money. We used the same amount of tonnage.
Okay, all right. Questions from council? None, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
And a second. Any other discussion? Submit your votes. See the votes. Unanimous approval to move on change order number 1 with Atlas Paving Company. Item number 10, discussion possible action to approve resolution number 2017-12, endorsing an ODOT striping of center lane, center turn lane, and also prohibiting on-street parking on Highway 33 for that segment. Staff?
The Oklahoma Department of Transportation is doing their summer striping program. They visit with city staff, Public Works Department. Both of them concluded that this would improve traffic flow by doing the 10-foot center lane when they restriped Highway 33 or Noble Avenue from Wentz to Drexel, and prohibit on-street parking along that stretch. I believe we did a study, and all of the properties along there had an opportunity to have access to off-street parking. And we also had the police department, fire department look at this, and they also, after they reviewed the proposed center turn lane, agreed with the recommendation of Public Works and the Department of Transportation.
Okay. Any questions of staff by council?
They're going to pay
Yeah.
for the whole project, is what the deal? Will they put up any signs that say no parking?
Yeah.
They will pay for the striping, but we'll have to put the sign, the no parking signs up.
Because I know we'll have a few of them that'll try to still park out there anyway.
Correct.
I think it's a good.
Any
idea.
other comments? Okay, I'll entertain a motion
So moved.
and a second.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? Submit your votes. Unanimous approval to move with that resolution endorsing the ODOT striping of the center lane. Item number 11, discussion and possible action to adopt ordinance number 3308 to amend our municipal code for the stabilization fund balance policy and declaring an emergency. Staff comments?
In your cover letter, we've highlighted it in red italics. There is 3 changes that we're proposing to the general fund stabilization fund. The first one is adding, at the city's discretion, the opportunity to invest funds in the stabilization fund into fully insured certificates of deposit, U.S. Treasury backed by full faith and credit of the United States, and ad valorem backed judgments assessed against the city. Our accountants expanded on this change because they felt there may be an opportunity to invest these funds because they are sitting there into some secure investments that might pay a higher return or interest rate than what we're getting now. The other changes was to Section E that has to do when we have over $1 million of fund, and then Section G when we have under $1 million. The same change, it allows expenditure and/or longer-term investments where the proposed use is related to a judgment against the city as determined by any court of competent jurisdiction or administrative law judge or administrative agency designated by the state legislature to issue workers' comp judgments.
Okay. Any questions of council?
So I got a
Staff?
question on the first one. Is that kind of like when we invested in Lehman Brothers some years back and they bailed on us and we lost a tremendous amount of money?
We didn't lose any money on it.
Didn't lose none. We lost a tremendous amount of potential money that we would have gained because they went
We
under,
didn't lose a
right?
thing. That was a long time ago. There was a security that was backing, that was transferred. They were supposed to substitute it with, BOK was supposed to substitute it with another security. And they didn't immediately do that as they were supposed to. Lehman in the interim went bankrupt, so their $1 million investment was no more. But we made demand on BOK to make it right, and they made it right.
Okay.
We lost nothing.
Okay. So what's the ad valorem back judgment portion of this clause?
If there's a judgment determined by district court or workers' comp court, then you can buy that judgment and you will have, it will be paid back by ad valorem tax with interest, and it would be a higher interest rate than what we are receiving right now. So that would be considered an investment.
What do you mean you
Okay.
can buy it? How does that work? I'm confused on that because I don't know how that works.
Whenever there's a judgment, it's put on the tax rolls for a 3-year period, but then that judgment is normally purchased by somebody as an investment so that whoever has won the judgment can get their money up front. And then the entity that buys the judgment would recapture that investment, just like in this case, the city or any investor over a 3-year period.
Okay. Any other questions?
Or what percentage of the funds are you talking about investing? All of them or a portion of them or?
We would have to we probably wouldn't invest, just like anything. Those monies are not meant to be used, but we probably wouldn't invest all of them in longer-term investments because we would want to keep some of them in case we had some kind of incident come up where we had to pull those funds out. But,
Well, I was asking.
but
Okay.
you know, you got $1
Rainy
million
day.
sitting there. Your plan's not to use that money, so if there's a chance to, even if you invested half of it at a higher interest rate, you're going to gain.
Right.
All right.
Perfect.
Any other questions? All right, I'll entertain a motion
So moved.
and a second.
Second.
Any other discussion? Submit your votes. See the votes? Vote by a vote of 5-1, that memorandum, or I'm sorry, that ordinance, adopting that ordinance and that amendment is approved. And declaring an emergency.
Need a vote.
Need another vote for that,
Need a vote. It takes 5 votes.
okay? Any,
So move.
So moved, second.
have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the emergency part of it? Okay, submit your votes. See the votes. Again, by a vote of 5-1, which is sufficient for it to pass, the emergency clause is adopted for that policy and that amendment. Item number 12, discussion and possible action to approve a memorandum of understanding between the City of Guthrie and the Friends of the Excelsior Library Foundation in regards to the Excelsior Library building on just down the street here in Guthrie. Staff comments.
Staff recognizes that there's been quite a bit of history on this particular project and building. Sometimes different entities have gotten crossways or on different pages. We have tried to work with the Friends of the Excelsior Library to come up with an approach that we think will give the Friends of the Library Foundation time to do this project in logical steps. The format of this agreement is it will be over potentially up to a 3-year period. Each year, the Friends of the Library have committed to complete certain steps towards their progress of renovating the building and taking ownership of it and repurposing the use of it for something to serve our community. In year one, they have committed to have the Excelsior Library property inspected by an engineer architect to document the structural integrity of the library structure, to have a detailed cost estimate developed to determine the minimum cost to fully restore the library property and bring it into compliance with all relevant building codes. Based on the integrity of the structure and the detailed cost estimate for restoration, reach a determination if the restoration of the library is a viable or feasible project, and then finally determine the purpose of the repurposed public use of the property under future ownership of the foundation. If after year one with all this, they decide that it makes sense to move forward to try to restore the library, in year two, they would develop a fundraising plan with details on how they plan to raise the money, set some goal to raise part of the money in year two and strive to achieve that. And then year three, they would finish their fundraising effort and present the renovation plans they have prepared by an architect or an engineer and make application to the city council to transfer ownership of the library. What the city would be committing to under this agreement would be to, we will maintain the insurance on the building, which is a minimal amount for the city, both property and liability, as long as the structure was in shape that we could get property. Insurance, if we couldn't, we'd still maintain the liability. On utilities, we will maintain the electric and water service so that the Friends of the Library can get in to inspect and clean the property up and various things. We would grant them access to the library. On technical assistance, staff would be authorized as time is available to provide technical assistance to the foundation in their pursuit of their project to restore the library as they request. And the city would favorably entertain, depending upon the conditions placed on a grant or the matching requirements, consider hosting applicants for foundation grants or state or federal grant funding that could further the purpose of the foundation in their efforts to restore the library. The matching fund requirements for those potential grant awards, of course, would be the responsibility of the foundation. And we would retain ownership until we reach the point that we did in year three. Of course, they could achieve those accomplishments earlier, but until then, we would retain ownership of the library.
Questions?
And yes, and as I understand, at the end of the 3 years, regardless, then the library would be transferred as we had planned from the beginning to the foundation.
It would either be transferred or you'll reach a point at the end of year one if the foundation, and we have some members of the foundation here tonight that might want to speak to this, but we'll reach a Y in the decision process at the end, once the inspection's done and we are sure of what the structural integrity is and have a cost estimate what it would take to renovate, then there would be a no-go or go decision made at that point. If it is not practical because of the structural integrity of the building to invest in that building, the decision might be to tear that building down and turn it into a park or some other type of facility that would honor what that original site was for, the library. If it is practical, it makes sense to move forward, then by the end of year 3, we would deed the property over for them to complete their project and the restoration of the library. So if it becomes a park or something, then it might retain, it might make sense for the city to continue to own it if for some reason the structure is not of such that would lend itself to restoration and the building's removed and a park's created there with some statutes and things to honor that site, then we may decide that it makes sense to keep it under the city at that point.
So basically, we're entering into 3 one-year contracts with specific outcomes to be achieved, potentially, before it goes to the next year of the contract.
Correct.
So let me ask you, what happens if after year 1, the terms of year 1 aren't met?
Then the city, of course, the city has the right to terminate this with 60 days written notice, and the Friends of the Library has the same option to terminate it with 60 days written notice. The thought is that the Friends of the Library will achieve their goals from year 1. I would like to think that if they make substantial progress, we would consider extending it. If there's no progress made, then of course the city council could say that there was no progress made and terminate the agreement at that time. I think the group that's involved in this will make a very sincere effort and do everything within their ability to complete this project. They are a new group. They've just got their 501c3. They are getting organized with their thoughts on what type of fundraising effort they could do. So I think they have positioned themselves, if given ample time, to make strides to complete this project in a well-thought-out manner.
Are there any representatives from the foundation that want to make any particular comments?
I want to say something real quick, if I may, because, I've been Evelyn, your biggest advocate on this building, and still am. I want nothing more than this building to go to the 501c3 that you've all created, and for you guys to be successful. That's what the goal was from day 1. That's what the goal is today. That's never changed. As a matter of fact, prior to getting on council, I was requested to a meeting by Ms. Nephew and Reverend Hammond to champion and carry the flag to make sure that this building wasn't going to get demolished. And I did that. It was actually slotted to be a placard and a bench. And so, I got with council members, including our mayor, and everybody else at the council, had individual talks, had multiple meetings, and made sure that didn't happen. So then we moved on, and I went to a couple of planning meetings where y'all were going to do some fundraising and stuff, and it looked solid to me, because again, the goal tonight for me, just as it was then, was for y'all to have the building, to have the keys to the building, and it's yours. That's what the mission was when I took on the champion of the flag, so to speak, to get you the building. Well, so some time passed. Some different council members that aren't here now, they put on some different mandates that you jumped through some different hoops. You did. You got the 501c3. You've got the, it's recorded with the Historical Society as a historical building, which is awesome. The funding just didn't happen, okay? And then at that time, we passed a city sales tax, okay? And then the thought was, from y'all's group, that maybe we would fund it through the city sales tax. but that was never slotted on the CIP agenda, so I don't know that that would have ever happened. I think there was some communication with y'all and our past city manager regarding that. I was asked what I felt about it, and my thoughts were absolutely not. I wasn't for the tax supporting it because, again, my goal was always to get you all the key to the building, which I did by making a motion to surplus the building. And then, so we made a motion to surplus the building, got a second on it, we voted on it, we surplus the building, so I could hand you the keys on a silver platter, so to speak. And there it was. And there the key still is. It's still sitting there on the platter for y'all to take. And so, you know, and again, I want to see you guys be as successful as you can be, and I think that city needs to be involved to a degree in it. I just don't, I'm just not, you know, to go on another 3 years, because there was 2 years that they were battling to get that thing put away. Then I spent almost 2 years on it, year and a half. Okay, so there's been 4 years already on the thing, but you got the keys to the building if you want it. So I'm concerned that what happens is Leroy said it, you know, the city has 60 days and they can retract the deal. Well, I don't want to do that. That's never been my intent. Again, my intent was to get the keys to the building for y'all, right, Evelyn? That's what the original intent was, to get you the keys, to get you the building. And that's what I did. And so where nobody can take it away. It's yours. Nobody can take that building away. Right now, you want the keys, you can come up and get them. And there is no caveat. There is no city has 60 days to say it's my building. And so that's where I stand on it. I was put on a mission, and when I got on this council, I committed to each and every one of you. I committed to y'all, and I committed to everybody out there that's watching and the people that aren't watching, that I'm going to do everything I said I'm going to do. And if you ask me to do something and I agree to do it, I'm going to do it to 100% of my ability. And that's what I've done in this case. So I'm for turning the keys over to the foundation like it should have been from the start, so that they don't have to worry about it getting potentially pulled out from under them in the future.
Well, I think the memorandum lays out a reasonable plan in a reasonable time from this day. Granted, there's been history. We all understand that. New members on the council don't, but those of us that have been on the council clearly know that there's been a lot of discussion and a lot of projection of what the city and the foundation can do. I think this memorandum of understanding lays that out with a new starting point. Granted, I think the city has some responsibility too, that we're not just turning over a building that's set for failure. And if in phase one, year one, if the engineering estimates and the structural stability of the building reflect that the investment is just too big for what the potential outcome is, then the foundation has the opportunity to say that. And then we can move on with what we want to do with the building. But I do think that the memorandum sets out expectations with some reasonable timeframes, considering we're starting today, not starting 3 years ago or 4 years ago, which you started that long ago, 3 years ago. And grant that you've done an awful lot to move this forward, to make this happen. But I think where we are right now, this memorandum of understanding clearly outlines what the expectations are, gives each the foundation and the city the opportunity to opt out with 60 days notice, and certainly identifies that at the end of year one, at the end of year two, and at the end of year three, what the expectations are to be achieved. I think we're moving maybe not as rapidly as what you had hoped for, and maybe members of the foundation had hoped for 2.5 years ago, but I think we're moving in a good direction with clear expectations.
Again, you've got a 60-day opt-out clause in the contract.
Both.
With no, I don't see any, define the 60-day clause that the city can bail out of this contract. And what do they have to have for cause to bail out of this contract? Within this contract, nothing. They can opt out with zero.
Both, either, and the foundation can too.
It doesn't matter. The city, all of a sudden, someone could come up hypothetically and say, I'll give you 200 grand for that building, city can opt out.
So,
Gone.
Councilman, would you be supportive if that particular clause was stricken from the agreement?
Somewhat more. Again, the goal has always been for them to have the building. The building is, it's always been the case. Otherwise, again, it would have just been not there. It wouldn't have been there today. This would be a moot point. Okay? I would like to see them take the building in good faith and be able to do something with it, obviously. You don't want to take something that the rain's going to blow in and the storms are going to pound through and you don't have an opportunity or a chance to fix it. I agree with that. There's no way. I thought by now that would have all been done. Just like when we first championed this cause, there were supposed to be engineering reports completed. Where are they, Jim? You were part of doing that with asbestos and everything else. Okay, where's all those reports? Okay, I thought we had engineering done on this thing. You know?
Not structural, we haven't done any structural.
Okay, so there we go. We did a piecemeal of it, right? So that's what I'm saying. You're going to make sure that this agreement is hardcore locked down to where, you're not just going to start spinning your wheels and all of a sudden we as a council have to make a business decision like I'm going to talk about here in a little bit. It has nothing to do with this, okay, that affects everybody in the community. So again, when I'm championed to do something, I follow through 100%. That's it. That's all I got.
Would you like to speak as a representative of the foundation?
Yes.
Ms. Nephews?
First of all, I'd like to thank you all for putting it on the agenda tonight.
You want to identify yourself?
Oh, I am
for the
Evelyn
record here?
Nephew. I am a community leader and also president of the Friends of the Excelsior Library. First, let me just thank the city manager. He's been awesome in helping us to put this verbiage together, this language. He has talked to us on several occasions, so that we could come to an understanding, so that the council could be to an understanding to see what we want to do, and we really appreciate that from you. We appreciate you, Councilman Bryan, for taking the lead and doing what you did. But we're not through. We want your continued support. We want your continued help. We want you to vote yes tonight so that we can do what we want to do. Our board has met, and we are in agreement of this. We have to start somewhere, so why not now?
So you're in agreement with the verbiage of this contract?
Yes, we have met. The city manager got with us and reviewed the contract. We asked questions.
Because that's what I do for half of a living is contract law. Okay, and in this contract right here, we can have a meeting in 2 months from now, and no, you don't have to strike it. If they've already agreed to it, they've already agreed to it. Bottom line is, the way this contract's written, this thing go away just like that.
Or just about any contract would do that because you have the authority. But what we're asking for you to do is, in this MOU, is to understand what we're trying to do so that we can move forward with those 3 years that we've asked for.
Okay, well, there you go.
Any other comments from council?
Well, I have some more board members that are here, working very diligently with me and with us. Anything you want to say? So we're good.
Okay, all right, thank you. Any other comments? Okay, I'll entertain a motion
So moved.
and a second.
Second.
Motion and second. Any other discussion? Submit your votes. Unanimous approval of the memorandum of understanding between the City of Guthrie and the Friends of the Excelsior Library Foundation. Item number 13, City Manager Report.
I know that we've only been meeting for 60 minutes on all these agenda items, but I can tell you it took more than 60 minutes to put all these reports together. And we have a lot of things going on at the city and a lot of projects, and I just did not have time to do a staff report that I thought did justice. And if it's okay with the council, I'd like to defer and give a more detailed report at our next meeting.
Okay, all right. Item number 14, comments from members of City Council. And we'll start with Councilman Taylor.
Wow. Maxine, thank you. I know you're going to cry, but I really, okay.
She's done. She cried out.
I see you brought the other half tonight. Anyway, I really appreciate what you've done. I don't know what else. I know Cheryl's not here. She's not feeling good tonight, so, and she said to tell you the same thing. But I appreciate all your help and what you've done, and I think Tenny will do a good job. You've trained a really good guy, so I think it's going to be exciting with him as well. So
You all must remember, I had a lot of help with that bunch out there.
Well, I very much appreciate what you've done. And staff, thanks for what you all do. Chief, I appreciate your award you won the other day, first place over at Jinx. And you were telling me, you said the vehicle hadn't gotten back yet, you had to do some more work to it. But I'm impressed if it won first place and it's still not all the way done. So I applaud you for that as well.
Yeah.
So other than that, thanks, guys. I really appreciate what everybody does.
Councilman Wood.
And also, Maxine, thank you very much. The city is still standing because of you. You keep it going, and I'm sure.
You're very generous.
And I'm sure Tenny is he has big shoes to fill, and I know that he's most capable of it, and looking forward to working with him. And we all get together on it, and it's going to be a lot of fun and carry this on down the road. Thank you again for everything, and also to city staff and to all we've done here. So,
Good. Councilman Case.
Maxine, you and I met on rather stringent terms, but I grew to admire you immediately, and it didn't take me long to cool down. So we've and really we haven't had a lot of dealings together, but they've all been very, very pleasant. You've done a wonderful job for the city, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Jim. I appreciate your friendship.
Councilman Bothright.
Yeah, same thing. We love you like family. You're going to miss you tremendously. Hopefully you'll pop back into these councils every now and then. And we're just not going to, we got a good one with Tenny. It's going to carry your torch, hopefully as good as you did. I'm sure he will. But you're going to be missed tremendously. I want to talk a minute here because, again, this isn't going to take very long, but it's going to take just a little bit. I made promises when I came on this council that I don't break promises. When I make a promise, it's a promise. And one of the promises was to complete transparency. Okay, and I'm a big transparency advocate. That's what I believe in. That's how I conduct my business life. I'm a straight shooter, and I throw it on the table. And I let my board know about it. And I let my employees know what's going on. Okay, and then the second one was to increase our property value, which we're not there yet. Okay, but those two things are really the main reason I got on council. Transparency to bridge the people to the council. Well, let me tell you what happened the other night on the last council. I got about 40 calls so far and counting. Literally, never thought I would get one. His phone started ringing that night, and it really hadn't stopped. And I met with some people, as some people in here, even in this room, I won't mention, no. But they asked how come I didn't want to settle the Bruning case, and because you were the biggest advocate of settling the Bruning case. Because one of the things I wanted to do also was eliminate our lawsuits, or to assist in eliminating the lawsuits, hence why I spent so much time on the rural water meetings. So the Bruning thing was a natural for me to work towards eliminating it. So why didn't you want to vote for it? Well, I did want to vote for it. No, you didn't. You voted no. I said, no, I voted no on the motion. What do you mean you voted no on the motion? Paper even asked that. Again, every single phone call asked, what do you mean you voted no on the motion? The motion was to settle the lawsuit. No, the motion wasn't to settle the lawsuit. It was to settle the lawsuit, but the other part of the motion was a judgment, which is a tax on you and I, okay, on our ad valorem. And that's what I voted against. I wanted to make it real clear. So I don't have to field any more phone calls on it. I don't have to explain it any further. Okay, I do what I said I'm going to do when I was elected, and that is make the best decision up here that I could possibly make for everybody and be a guardian of the city dollars and our dollars, your dollars. That's what I try to do. And so that's the reason for the vote. I wanted to settle the Bruning case. I didn't agree with how we're paying for it, period. And that's why I didn't vote for the deal tonight, just FYI. Because if I voted no on the Bruning deal, on the judgment portion of the Bruning case, not to just not settle the Bruning case, because I want to settle that, but the judgment portion of it, then I can't vote yes on tonight's amending the ordinance on our rainy day fund, because every single part of that is about a judgment, if you noticed. Okay, so if I vote no on that over here, I have to vote no on this, or I'm a hypocrite. That's how that works. And so I just wanted everybody to know, that's me. And my
Councilman Smedley.
sorry it took so long.
Thank you, Maxine, and thank you, staff, for everything you continue to do. Also, everybody, have a happy and safe 4th of July. And if you want to come out and see a great fireworks show, July 1st, downtown.
Red Brick Nights is here. Well, I will conclude our council comments with just reinforcing what great leadership and a role model Maxine has given for our community, for those in public service. Not an easy job, and you have done it with grace and dignity, and a passion for what is best for Guthrie. And I think everybody understands that. I'm a relative newbie here, but when I was talking to folks about different departments in the community, the word Maxine and trust always came up together. So a huge level of trust that this community has in you, and you have in this community. So thank you for the gift that you have given us for 25 years. Item number 15 is to request for approval to convene into executive session for purpose of discussing a purchase of a property, the State Publishing Museum.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? Submit your votes. See the votes. Unanimous approval to move to executive session. Okay, I reconvene our city council meeting of June 20th. Item number 16. No action was taken on the regarding the State Publishing Museum, or building, I should say, State Publishing Building. And that being the last item on the agenda, we're adjourned. Thank you very much.